What if I told you that within your mind lies the key to all creation? That imagination, not action, is the true source of reality. This is the foundation upon which Neville Goddard built his teachings. To understand your power as one of God's chosen ones, you must first embrace the sanctity of silence, for in silence lies the creative force of imagination. In a world eager for validation, where the impulse to share and broadcast dominates, silence becomes not just a discipline, but a profound act of spiritual preservation. Imagination is the divine engine of creation, the way in which God's promise unfolds in your life. And yet, when we expose our imagined desires prematurely, we squander the very energy necessary to bring them into being. Silence, then, is not merely the absence of words, but a deliberate state of focused consciousness, a sacred guard over the treasures of the mind. To Goddard, imagination is more than a faculty. It is the divine spark within you, the method by which you co-create with the infinite. When you imagine something with the feeling that it is already real, you align yourself with the reality you seek to manifest. This is the essence of the law of assumption. Assume the state of your fulfilled desire, and the world will reshape itself to reflect your assumption. But this act of creation requires an incubator, a space untouched by doubt or external influence. The moment you reveal your imagined future to others, you invite their perceptions, fears, and skepticism into your sacred creative process. Every opinion, every raised eyebrow, every well-meaning question dilutes the clarity of your vision. The imagined world, like a seed, must be nurtured in the fertile soil of silence until it is strong enough to withstand the external elements. In Goddard's philosophy, there are no external enemies in the traditional sense. The obstacles we face are states of consciousness, doubt, fear, and disbelief that manifest as external resistance. When you prematurely reveal your desires, you risk activating these states in others, which then mirror back to you, strengthening your own insecurities. The imagined future, now exposed, becomes vulnerable to the currents of negativity. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. He was given a vision of greatness, a dream in which his brothers bowed before him. But when he shared this dream, it did not inspire support. It ignited envy. Joseph's premature revelation of his destiny led to betrayal and hardship. While his ultimate success was inevitable, his journey was delayed by the forces he had unintentionally provoked. Mary, the mother of Jesus, provides another profound example. Entrusted with the greatest promise in human history, she did not announce her divine role to the world. Instead, she nurtured the promise in silence, allowing it to grow until the appointed time. Mary understood what every chosen one must learn. Dreams are like babies. They are fragile, needing protection and care before they can thrive in the world. Silence is the womb of creation. It is in this sacred space that your imagined future grows strong. When you resist the urge to reveal your plans, you shield them from doubt and interference, giving them the time they need to solidify within you. As Goddard often taught, consciousness is the only reality. When you remain silent, you maintain control over your inner world, the true reality from which all external events flow. How, then, do you honor the call to silence in a world that rewards oversharing? Start by recognizing the power of your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself in a way that affirms your assumption of the wish fulfilled. Envision your desired future with clarity and feeling, and trust that the unseen forces of the universe are working to bring it to pass. When tempted to share your plans, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, am I seeking validation, or am I nurturing my creation? If validation is your goal, recognize that it can only come from within, from your faith in God's promises and your alignment with the state of the desired end. There is a divine timing to all things, and your role is to trust in that timing. Not every revelation is meant to be shared immediately. Some must mature in the secret place of your imagination before they can withstand the scrutiny of the world. As Ecclesiastes 3.7 reminds us, there is a time to be silent and a time to speak. For the chosen ones, silence often precedes manifestation. What if I told you that your greatest trials are not obstacles to overcome, but sacred rites of passage, leading you toward a fuller understanding of yourself and your divine purpose? In the teachings of Neville Goddard, challenges are not external battles waged against unseen enemies. Instead, they are states of consciousness that reflect your inner struggles. To navigate them is to ascend into a higher awareness of your creative power. Every challenge you face holds the seed of transformation. Yet, for that seed to germinate, it must be nurtured in silence and faith. Too often, we externalize our struggles, seeking validation or sympathy from others. But this act can rob us of the spiritual growth those challenges are meant to bring. In Goddard's philosophy, everything you experience is a projection of your inner state. The conflicts, setbacks, and doubts you face are not random. They are mirrors reflecting the beliefs you hold about yourself and your world. A financial struggle might echo a subconscious belief in lack. A strained relationship might reveal a lack of self-love. The solution, then, is not found in fighting the external, but in transforming the internal. This reframing turns trials into opportunities. Each challenge invites you to ascend to a new state of consciousness. As Goddard taught, you do not attract that which you want, but that which you are. Consider the example of Jesus. In moments of profound struggle, he did not turn to the crowd for validation or understanding. Instead, he withdrew to the wilderness or to the mountains, seeking communion with God in solitude. This act of withdrawal was not a retreat, but a deliberate step into the secret place where transformation occurs. When faced with the anguish of Gethsemane, Jesus prayed alone, wrestling with his inner doubts and fears. This was not an external battle, but a profound internal alignment, a surrender to the higher will. When you face inner challenges, the temptation to share them with others can be strong. You may seek reassurance or relief, hoping that external voices will quiet your inner turmoil. But Neville reminds us that true change begins within. To externalize your struggles is to scatter the energy needed for transformation. Instead, bring your trials into the silence of your imagination, where they can be transmuted through faith and focused thought. The Bible provides a powerful illustration in the story of Jacob wrestling with the angel, Genesis 32:22-31. This struggle, interpreted through Goddard's lens, is not a physical confrontation, but a psychological battle. Jacob wrestled with his own doubts and limitations, until he emerged transformed with a new name and identity. His struggle was private, sacred, and deeply transformative, a perfect metaphor for the inner challenges of the chosen ones. In the face of challenges, faith is your greatest ally. But this is not blind faith. It is the faith that arises from a deep conviction in the creative power of your imagination. To trust in God, as Goddard taught, is to trust in the divine within you, the infinite potential to reshape your reality through assumption and belief. When doubts arise, remind yourself that these are temporary states of consciousness, not permanent conditions. Speak to yourself as if you were already victorious. Assume the feeling of having overcome the trial, and let that feeling guide your actions and thoughts. This is the alchemy of the spirit, turning challenges into triumphs through the power of imagination. How, then, do you navigate your challenges while maintaining the sacred silence? Begin by resisting the urge to seek validation from others. Instead, turn inward. Create a space for reflection and prayer, where you can confront your doubts without interference. Visualize yourself as the person you wish to become, and dwell in the feeling of that state. When faced with criticism or skepticism from others, remember that their reactions are reflections of their own states of consciousness. Do not let their doubts become your own. Protect your inner work as you would a precious seed, allowing it to grow strong before exposing it to the world. What if the sacred moments of divine revelation in your life were not meant to be shared, but to deepen your personal connection to the infinite? Neville Goddard often taught that our experiences, particularly those of a spiritual nature, are profoundly personal. They are gifts of consciousness, treasures that illuminate the path to our higher selves. Yet, their power lies not in their proclamation, but in their quiet contemplation. To experience a divine revelation is to step into the profound mystery of being. These moments of clarity, guidance, or vision are not for casual discussion. They are sacred and transformative. When shared prematurely or indiscriminately, they can lose their potency, becoming subject to the misunderstandings, doubts, or envy of others. Like seeds, these revelations must first be nurtured in the fertile soil of silence before they can bear fruit. Spiritual encounters are not random occurrences. They are reflections of your alignment with the divine. When you receive a vision, dream, or moment of clarity, it is a direct communication with the infinite intelligence that governs all creation. In Neville's words, "The Creator is within you, and every moment of revelation is an unveiling of your true self." These experiences are gifts, not for display, but for growth. Imagine receiving a priceless jewel. Would you parade it in the streets for all to see, exposing it to theft or damage? Or would you keep it safe, cherishing its beauty and allowing its value to deepen in your understanding? So it is with spiritual revelations. They must be guarded with care and reverence. The Bible provides powerful examples of individuals who encountered the divine and chose silence over disclosure. Consider Paul, who in the 2 Corinthians 12:4 speaks of being caught up to the third heaven, where he heard inexpressible things, things that no one is permitted to tell. Paul understood that these revelations were not meant for public consumption. Their purpose was not to impress, but to transform. Similarly, in Revelation 10:4, John the Apostle hears the voices of 7 thunders, but is instructed not to write down what they said. The message was sacred, reserved for his understanding alone. These examples reflect a profound truth. Not every encounter is meant to be shared. Some are meant to shape your consciousness, guiding you in your personal walk with God. To share a spiritual encounter prematurely is to expose it to external forces that may dilute or distort its meaning. When others hear of your experiences, their reactions, whether doubt, ridicule, or envy, can seep into your consciousness, weakening your faith in what you have received. Silence, on the other hand, allows these encounters to mature within you, deepening their transformative power. Neville taught that everything in your external world is a projection of your inner state. When you receive a spiritual revelation, it is an invitation to shift into a higher state of consciousness. This process is delicate. Just as a butterfly emerges from its chrysalis in its own time, so too must divine revelations unfold within you. Sharing them too soon can disrupt this natural process, leaving the transformation incomplete. What, then, should you do with these sacred moments? The answer lies in meditation and prayer. Meditation is the art of dwelling in the feeling of your revelation, allowing it to permeate your being. It is not enough to remember what you have seen or heard. You must live in its truth, letting it shape your thoughts, actions, and assumptions. Prayer, as Neville described it, is not pleading or asking, but a state of communion with God. When you receive a divine encounter, bring it into your prayers. Align yourself with its message and trust that its purpose will unfold in your life at the right time. To guard your spiritual encounters, adopt these practices. Reflect in silence. When you experience a revelation, take time to reflect on its meaning without seeking external validation. Journal privately. Write about your experiences in a private journal, allowing you to process and preserve their significance without exposing them to others. Pray for clarity. Use prayer to seek deeper understanding of the encounter's purpose in your life. Trust divine timing. Recognize that not every revelation is meant to be shared. Trust that when the time is right, you will know how to act. What if the greatest power in the universe resides not in the stars above or the vast forces of nature, but within you? Neville Goddard taught that every human being carries the divine within, a creative force capable of shaping reality itself. This divine spark, often veiled by doubt and distraction, is awakened through the deliberate use of imagination, faith, and silence. To manifest the divine within is to align your thoughts and feelings with the infinite intelligence of God. It is to understand that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. Yet, as with all sacred processes, manifestation requires humility, patience, and trust. Silence becomes not merely a tool, but a sanctuary, a space where divine creation unfolds, free from the interference of fear and external influence. Faith is the bridge that connects the world of imagination to the physical realm. It is not blind hope, but the conviction that what you imagine is already real. In Hebrews 11:1, we read, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." To Goddard, this verse is a profound truth. Faith transforms the invisible into the visible. Faith requires trust. not only in God, but in the process of creation itself. When you imagine your desire and feel its reality, you must resist the urge to interfere, analyze, or control. Trust that the divine within you is at work, orchestrating circumstances beyond your comprehension to bring your vision to life. As Neville often said, "Your faith in God is measured by your confidence in yourself." Silence is not just the absence of speech. It is a deliberate state of focused imagination and trust. In silence, you withdraw from the noise of the world and tune in to the still, small voice within. This is where creation happens, not through effort, but through alignment with the divine. Consider the story of creation in Genesis. God speaks the world into existence, but before the first word is uttered, there is silence. This silence is the fertile ground from which all things emerge. Similarly, when you manifest the divine within, silence becomes the space where your imagination takes root. It is in this stillness that you connect with God and align your inner world with your desired reality. The Bible is rich with stories of individuals who trusted in God's timing and allowed their manifestations to mature in silence. Abraham, for example, was promised descendants as numerous as the stars, yet he waited decades for the fulfillment of that promise. During this time, his faith was tested, but his trust in God's word remained steadfast. Another profound example is Mary, the mother of Jesus. Entrusted with the greatest promise of all, she did not rush to proclaim her role. Instead, she kept all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2:19. Mary's silence was not born of doubt, but of reverence and trust. She understood that the divine work within her required time to unfold. To manifest the divine within, you must approach the creative process with humility and trust. Here are practical steps to align your imagination, faith, and silence. Visualize with feeling. Close your eyes and imagine your desired reality as if it were already true. Feel the emotions associated with its fulfillment: joy, gratitude, peace, and let these feelings saturate your being. Guard your vision. Resist the urge to share your desires with others, especially in the early stages of manifestation. Trust that your vision does not need external validation. Affirm in silence. In moments of stillness, affirm the truth of your imagination. Speak to yourself as though your desire is already fulfilled. Repeat quietly, "It is done. I am." Surrender to God's timing. Let go of the need to control the how and when of your manifestation. Trust that the divine is orchestrating events in perfect harmony with your vision. Practice gratitude. Give thanks not only for the manifestation, but for the process itself. Gratitude aligns your consciousness with abundance and opens the door for more blessings. Manifestation is a process, not an event. Just as a seed grows unseen beneath the soil before breaking through the surface, so too do your desires take shape in the unseen realm of imagination. When the time is right, your manifestation will bloom effortlessly, as if by divine decree. Neville often reminded his students that creation is finished. This means that everything you desire already exists in the realm of imagination. Your task is not to create, but to align, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and let the divine within bring it into being. Your spiritual encounters are tests of your alignment with God's infinite power within. They are sacred gifts that transform you from the inside out. But remember, silence is a shield. By keeping certain things private, you protect the divine work unfolding in your life. Guard your imagination, your faith, and your manifestations with reverence, knowing that not everything is meant for the world's eyes. Do not fall into the trap of seeking validation or recognition from others. Your approval comes from God alone, and His timing is perfect. Trust that when the moment is right, He will reveal His work in your life in ways that no one can deny. Until then, remain humble, remain faithful, and remain silent. Watch as God moves on your behalf, blessing you in ways that will leave your enemies speechless and your spirit in awe. If this message has resonated with you, embrace it as a call to walk with God in faith and quiet confidence, knowing that His promises are sure and His plan for you is unfolding perfectly.